95% of all coaches online eventually fail in business, and I don't want that to be your future. So watch this video because I'm going to show you what every beginner coach and more advanced entrepreneur needs to know to actually win in business. Hey guys, what's going on? Yuri Elkaim here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. We help health professionals build scalable coaching businesses without the grind. I can't tell you how many conversations I have with health professionals and coaches who are struggling. They've been at this for a couple of years and they're barely making a couple grand a month. Their messaging is vague. They don't know who they're serving. They have some idea of what they do, but they don't know what problem they're solving, and therefore no one wants what it is they're offering. If this can relate to you, watch this video because I'm about to walk you through a very simple and important visual that could change everything for your business. Because right now, if I were to ask you, what is your business model? You might say, Yuri,
I don't even know what you're talking about.
And that's okay, because most people don't. Here's the thing, is if you can't draw out how your business works, you don't have a business. I want to change that today. So I'm going to draw some stuff out on the iPad. I think it's going to really make sense for you. And we're going to look at a couple of categories, 3 specific areas that you must learn and master if you want to build a great business. Whether that's $1 million business or making a couple more grand a month, it doesn't matter. If you want to get more leads, if you want to get more high-paying clients, if you want to transform more lives, this is where it starts. Cool? So let's dive in, and I'm going to walk you through the model. We call this the Healthpreneur way. This is the path that we walk our clients through to help them add $10,000 to $50,000 per month to their business while helping more people with their awesomeness and while working less. Does that sound good? Cool. So if you're a coach, you're looking to build your business, the first thing you probably want to do a better job of is attract leads. How do you get leads coming into your world who actually want to know what you do? How do you get yourself out in front of the perfect people you want to serve so they know you actually exist? Because the biggest danger that is facing your business right now is obscurity. If no one knows who you are, it doesn't matter how good you are, right? We all face the same thing. It's like online, it's not like people just walk down the street and stumble upon your gym or your clinic. Your website, your social profile, your existence online is zero to most people. So what we need to do is become more visible so people actually come into your world and you can make yourself known to them. So we call that attracting leads. So how do we do that? Well, in our world, there's 2 ways of doing this. I'm going to walk you through both ways, but just understand you have the free way and the paid way. I'm a huge believer and huge fan of paid traffic. I'm also a huge fan of organic/free traffic. But I want to mention something. Just because organic or social or content isn't paid as ads are paid doesn't mean it's free. We have a whole content team behind what we do here. My previous business, we had a payroll of $35,000 a month just for content. So if you think posting online and creating content is free, it's not. Not if you want to do it properly, but we all have to start somewhere, okay? So there's 2 systems. I want you to think of these as vehicles for what your business is built upon. So a lot of people, they are running their businesses on bicycles. That's their vehicle. They're pedaling really hard. They're going uphill. It's like they're in quicksand and they're grinding away with very little progress. What we help our clients with is we actually put them in supercars so they can go from A to B a lot faster. So we do that in 2 ways. One is with a system called the Perfect Client Pipeline, which if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know what that is. If you haven't, at the end of this video, we'll link up to one of those so you can see in more depth what that is. But that's essentially using paid traffic to acquire clients or attract leads at the starting point of that who've never heard of you, never knew you existed in the space of a couple minutes. You can push a button, have your message shown to as many people as you want, and it doesn't matter if you have a following or not. It's a great place to start, and a lot of people love that. I don't know why I'm getting the phone call, but I just turned that off. Second, if you're focused more on the organic or social side, we have a process or system called the Social Authority Selling System. And this is all about helping you put together a plan and engaging content that will actually move the needle for your business and doing so in a way that doesn't take hours to create. Because one of the biggest challenges a lot of you guys face, and I had faced in the past, is not knowing what to post, takes forever to create stuff, and then no one sees it. And so it's like you're putting all this effort in for what? And that's really, really frustrating. So with the Social Authority Selling System, think of it as a combination of a plan so you know exactly what to post every single day. You have frameworks and templates to create engaging content, and then eventually that creates excited followers. People want to hear from you because the stuff you're putting out is just super valuable. So I share these 2 systems with you, these 2 vehicles with you, because if you don't know what it is you're doing, there's no rhyme or reason to what you're doing. Don't be surprised when you get there, which is nowhere. Whether you use these systems or anything else, the most important thing is you should be able to map out exactly how you attract clients. How most health coaches and health professionals attract clients is the following. I just hope harder. That's my plan. I put some stuff out occasionally and some people randomly come in, and that's how I've grown my business. And you haven't grown much of a business to begin with because there's no system. And I understand that. Like maybe you don't know what else to do. So this is where it starts, is by having a system or two, if you're doing paid and organic, that attracts leads largely on autopilot. And the most important is you understand how you can document this process so you can know where the constraints are, how you can pull certain levers to increase the flow or fix certain things that aren't working. Now, I will share with you the biggest mistake. There's two big mistakes health professionals make at this point. Number one is trying to help everyone. Just because you can help a lot of people doesn't mean you should. When I came online in 2005, I was a generalist. And I stayed a generalist for 13 years. And it was it was a long journey and a big grind. I don't recommend it. The first thing we do with our clients is we help them pick a profitable problem and a perfect client. What's the problem you can solve? You can probably solve many of them. But what's the one core problem that you get excited about solving? Once you've identified that, and there's certain ways of doing that that are more effective than others, we have a process called the Profitable Problem Matrix, which I've shared in a previous video. But once you've identified that, you want to really think about who has that problem that I want to work with. Is it new moms? Is it menopausal women? Is it busy dads? Whatever it is. Once you have that, your whole business flows from that, because you can't have clear messaging to everyone. You can't have a concise curriculum, which we'll get into in a moment, if all of your clients have different problems. So the single most important thing you can do in business is to start off by figuring out who is the single target market I want to serve. That's mistake and solution number one. The second major mistake I see people make, and I just had a conversation literally yesterday with someone who did this, is outsourcing all of this marketing stuff to an agency. And I don't mind if you do that at some point down the road, whatever. But when you're just barely starting and barely making revenue and you outsource this to an agency, that is the closest thing to lighting dynamite in your own business. And here's why. Number one, you have not mastered the skill of marketing and sales. Therefore, you will always be at the mercy of someone else. And as soon as that relationship stops, you're back at ground zero, exactly where you started. No skills and no understanding of how to get your own leads. I was talking with someone yesterday who was making $5,000 a month and had outsourced all of this stuff, the marketing stuff, to an agency. Now, if you're making $5,000 a month, you're not hiring an agency that's going to be very expensive. Because I've worked with agencies in the past. We've paid retainers of $20,000 a month. It was ridiculous. And then when we brought everything back in-house, we produced way better results than they did. So if this guy's making $5,000 a month, he's hiring an agency for maybe $2,000 a month. You always get what you pay for. And I challenged him on this. I said, hey man, why? Because you're not going to be getting the results you're hoping for. And he'll be back at ground zero in a couple months, no further ahead once he realizes that they're not that good. And I hear this all the time. I worked with so-and-so before, I got burned, I got scammed, I got whatever. No. You got what you deserve. You made a decision, and either you didn't learn the skills, so therefore someone else had all the power, and now you're back at ground zero. It is what it is. I'm telling you this, you will never move your business further along than if you learn the skill the first time around. Okay, so what I'm sharing with you here, this is stuff you must master yourself. You don't have to do everything for the rest of the time, but you have to do everything initially so that when you do delegate it or outsource it, you understand what the hell's going on, okay? So attracting leads, we want a single target market. We don't want to outsource all this stuff. You want to understand how to do this, how to understand your messaging, how to communicate to your audience. And it's a really, really important first step. Okay, so the second thing now is once you have leads coming in, you have more followers, you have more people opting into your email list. A lead is someone who has expressed interest in something you're offering, okay? So now what we want to do, the second phase, or the second step, that's not how you spell converts, but convert clients is the second step. Okay, so you have leads on your email list, you have followers on social media. What do you do with them? Because it doesn't matter if you have 100,000 followers if none of them are paying you money. It doesn't matter if you have an email list of 1,000 people if no one ever gets an email from you, right? So what we want to be able to do is understand how do we articulate an offer and have communication with our audience to such a degree that they're willing to take the next step with us. And in our world, there's two ways we do this. One is via direct message on social media and or email. And that process we call the conversational close. It's a conversation you're having with a follower or someone who's raised their hand to say, I'm interested in what you're offering. Knowing how to have that conversation by typing knowing how to ask the right questions, not come across as super pushy and salesy and awkward, is a real art and science. Now, we have a whole process, again, I just mentioned it, called the Conversational Close, where we basically do what we do in our business. We help our clients with this. And this is one of the fastest ways to turn dormant followers into paying clients. That's used mostly via DM and email. Then, if you are selling something of higher value, let's say $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a coaching program, you probably want to get on the phone with prospects. Whether it's the phone or Zoom is up to you. Again, what do you say? How do you lead the conversation? How do you move someone from I'm interested into let's do this? So we have a process called Coach to Close. Notice how I said process, right? A lot of this stuff is process. There's a recipe, there's a sequence, there's a formula. Not just jump on the phone and hope for the best. There's a very methodical process behind this. What I'm sharing with you has generated more than $217 million for our clients. So the Coach to Close process is how you can have conversations that are literally coaching calls with your prospects. They're not sales calls. They're fit calls. Are you a fit? Are we a fit? And if so, let's move this across the finish line. And if there's resistance, let's have a coaching conversation, which is helping someone get through their own nonsense to help them make the best decision for them. That might be working with you, that might not be working with you. But nonetheless, we want to get to a decision. So that's how we convert clients. And ultimately, you want to be getting clients who are willing to pay you top dollar, right? So instead of one session for $50, you're enrolling clients for several $1,000s, because the more people pay, the more they pay attention. And if you have a tough time enrolling people at a higher price point, that's a skill gap. If you don't think people will pay premium prices for what you're offering, that's a mindset issue. All of these are things that we help our clients with on a daily basis, and we've helped thousands of clients through this stuff. Okay, so whether you're selling weight loss or acne resolution or hormone improvement, metabolic stuff, doesn't matter. If you're helping people online, whether you've never seen them in person or you have, you can charge premium prices to transform someone's life. Promise you. Been at this for 20 years, okay? I have nothing to gain by trying to sell you on this. I'm just showing you what's possible. So when it comes to having these conversations, whether we're talking about in the DM or on the phone, the biggest mistake I want you to avoid, and you might be making this already because I know that I made this for way too long, is talking about your stuff. No one cares about your thing. All they care about is their problem. And the easiest way, if I were to diagnose your conversations, whether it's on the phone or in a chat, the first thing I would be looking for, if this were a chat conversation, are the size of the bubbles in your DMs. If you have big blue bubbles, boom, 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 I know you're losing already. If you're explaining, you're losing. He or she who asks the questions is leading the conversation. So what your chat or email conversations should look like is acknowledge, question, acknowledge, question. The prospect's responses can be as long as they want to be, but you acknowledge, next question, acknowledge, next question, not explain, 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 explain. You do that, you're toast. Same thing happens on the phone or on Zoom. If you're talking with a prospect, stop talking. Ask a question, let them talk. Why is that important to you? Let them talk. Who else benefits from you doing this? Let them talk. Talk less, ask more. You do that simple thing, even if you don't know what the hell you're saying, just think about, ask the question and stop talking. Okay, it's the single biggest mistake in a sales conversation that, I've seen in my experience. So again, I made this mistake way too often and for way too long. Part of the problem is that we're so close to our solution that we're like, oh my God, this is the best thing since sliced bread. You got to use this. I understand, you have to bring that conviction. It's awesome. But you got to tone it down in terms of how much you talk about your solution and make it all about their problem and where they want to go. Okay, so we've got other great videos on the channel that I'll walk you through specifically step-by-step with this Coach to Close script. If you want to check that out, we'll link up to it somewhere. But just understand that that's a skill that anyone can develop. If I can do this and thousands of other health professionals can, why couldn't you? Now, once we have leads coming in, we're enrolling them into paying clients, how do we deliver results? Because that's the third thing we need to master. The third pillar of your business. Okay, so there's two ways of doing this. And I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong for you, but you can work one-on-one or you can work in a group. I'm a huge fan of leverage, which means I don't enjoy doing things that are one-on-one. And I'm a big fan of group coaching because in my 20 years of experience, I've noticed that people in groups get better results for many different reasons. In a one-on-one situation, and it doesn't matter what kind of health coach you are, what kind of specialty you have, other than deep emotional traumatic stuff, I've seen no example of one-on-one coaching producing better results than group. Now you might say, no, Yuri, I'm special. The way I do things one-on-one is very unique. Congratulations. Have fun with those handcuffs on for the rest of your life, okay? You can't say that and also say that you're burnt out and want a solution. You must understand that the biggest bottleneck is your time and thus how you deliver to clients. You will never grow and expand your marketing if you're always bottlenecked on the back end. If you can only take on 5 clients, then you never have a marketing issue because you have a delivery issue. But if you can expand your capacity on the back end to instead of 5 clients to now 20, then now we can ramp up marketing a little bit. So this is why I talk about like understanding if you can map out, if you can draw out your business model, then you can identify visually where the constraints are. And I'm telling you this, no matter what service, whether it's accounting, legal, hairdressing, you're a naturopath, chiropractor, it doesn't matter. If you're in a service-based business, the number one constraint you will always run into is your time. So you can certainly grow a one-on-one coaching business to a certain level. Maybe it's 10K a month, maybe it's 15, depends on how much you charge. But that's it. That's it. At some point, you make a decision. I'm happy here, or I want to grow and I want to work a little bit less. If you want to impact a lot of people and you want to make more money and you want to build a transformational business, it can't revolve around you and your time. That's not a business. That's a job, right? The more the business relies on you, the less valuable the business is. So when we look at a group coaching model, it's one-to-many. Okay, I'll get that in a second. But let me just finish the one-on-one stuff for a second. I'm not saying one-on-one's bad, okay? And quite honestly, most of our clients want to move away from one-on-one, but they start there, right? And that's totally fine, right? You'll get to a point where you have, let's say, 10 one-on-one clients, and maybe it's like, you know what, I can't sustain this anymore. How do I transition into a group, right? And that's something we help our clients with. And really simply, what you could say, if you have 10 one-on-one clients all working individually with you, they don't know the other ones exist, you could just have a communication with them by email or on the phone, be like, hey, like, I don't know if you know this, but I've got a lot of other clients just like you. And I was actually thinking of putting another call on the calendar to bring you guys together and support you guys with what other questions you might have and just kind of start to build a community with that. Would you be opposed to that? Most people would say like, no, that sounds pretty cool. And would it be okay if we like just created an online community, maybe in a Facebook group, or you guys could connect and we could, use that as our main communication hub? They might say, well, that sounds pretty cool. That is a very simple way you could transition from one-on-one into group without making it overly complicated. So how do we move into group? Number one, and this goes back to what we talked about at the start, is you have to work with a single target market. One-on-one is fine up until a point, but you can't transition to a group if all of your clients have different problems, because how are you supposed to help everyone at the same time if they're all dealing with different things? So one of the models that we've talked about in some of our other videos, we call this the Dream Come True system. And the Dream Come True system is built on a really simple framework called the 3C model. And the 3 C's are really simple. Think of it like a birthday cake or a wedding cake, whatever, tickles your fancy. At the very base of it, you have curriculum. So in order for people to go through a curriculum, there needs to be one curriculum, not several curricula. Therefore, you have to have one single target market, one problem, they're on the same track to the same destination. So the curriculum is essentially, what are the things that my clients can do on their own outside of my time that will still move them toward their goal? It's not a do-it-yourself online course, but it would be similar to thinking about that, right? If I never, ever spoke with my clients, what would have to be true? What would have to be included for them to get the result that they want? It's a good question to ask, and that forms the base of your curriculum. Then on top of that, as we bring clients together in a group or on calls, we build a community. Community heals, isolation kills. People will rise to the level of their peer group. So if other people are on the same destination and they have these ambitious goals of wanting to get better, do you think that is going to help your clients? Yeah, it's going to inspire them. It's going to motivate them for sure. And you can layer in one-on-one if you want to in that process. That's up to you. But on top of that is the coaching. But notice the size difference between coaching and community, or our curriculum, sorry. The coaching is the smallest piece. So for instance, in our coaching program, we have 2 coaching programs. In our Health Business Accelerator, which is our main one, we have 340 active clients right now. I do 3 calls a week, but we have a whole coaching team that allows our clients to have up to 5 calls a day. Now, I'm not saying you have to have a whole coaching team at this moment, but when I started and we had 20, 30 clients, I offered 1 group coaching call a week, and that eventually expanded into a specific call around one aspect of the business, a different call around a different aspect, and eventually I brought other coaches in to support me there. But now I have a lot of leverage because our clients go through our curriculum, they have hundreds of other health professionals and coaches for that camaraderie, that community, and then my team's coaching is later on top of that for more personalized support, for more kind of wisdom, if you will, our eyes on their stuff. And that's how our clients are able to move through our program in a group fashion, but still feeling they're getting individual attention. And so that's how we recommend moving into more of a group as opposed to one-on-one. So just remember that, when we look at this as a business model or a path to building your business, whether you're starting out or looking to grow, it's really important to identify the major pillars. We got to attract leads, we got to convert those leads into clients, and then we have to deliver results to those paying clients. We can do that with paid traffic or organic or both. We can have conversations in the DM or email or on the phone or on Zoom. And once people are in, we can work with them one-on-one and or in group. Again, if this resonates with you, we've got lots of other videos on the channel that go a little bit deeper into each of these areas. But the big thing that I want you to get out of this is that you don't have to be another statistic. You don't have to be one of the 95% of businesses that fail in the first couple of years. I want you to succeed. We exist as a business to help health professionals and coaches like you to grow scalable businesses so that you can help more people, so that collectively we can transform our lives. And that's why I share this stuff. Because if you can take this and implement parts of it or all of it and build a better business, then you win, your clients win, and we win because we're doing what we're supposed to do. So if this resonates with you, let me know in the comments which of these pillars or which of these concepts really has struck a chord with you. I'd love to know in the comments below. And if you want to go deeper into any of these areas, we have loads of other videos on the channel to help you do just that. We'll link up to some of them in the description below. But this is how, as a beginning online coach or more seasoned coach or entrepreneur, this is how you win. You map out the game plan. You have a very visual business model. You know exactly what the pillars are and how to move the different needles where needed. If you don't have something like this, you're gonna struggle. Once you have something like this, you've got a roadmap, and now it's just about executing. Hope you enjoyed it. In less than 30 minutes, I'm gonna give you my entire $100 million business building blueprints. I'm gonna shift over into a very tactical training for you in just a moment, where I'm gonna walk you through the acquisition, the delivery, how to work with clients online, and in literally 30 minutes, you will have so much more clarity